About 7 or 8 years ago, I was visiting a country called Burma, otherwise known as Myanmar. It's a complicated story where there's some really painful forms of genocide going on in some parts of that country. I was there for some research, and I was visiting a makeshift school in the jungles. I walked into a classroom designed for 1st to 5th graders. So 15 chairs, 15 desks, use your imagination. There was this beat up chalkboard that was plastered in front of the classroom. I walk in, and instantaneously my eyes gravitated towards the chalkboard. There was a poster that was taped onto this chalkboard, and trust me when I say this, it was the most hideous, the most disgusting thing I've ever seen with my own eyes. There were photos of men, women, and children, a poster the size of this table, photos, collage of photos of men, women, and children with missing body parts and blood oozing out of them. Now let me remind you, 1st to 5th graders. My host, sensing I was disturbed, says, Reverend Cho, come closer, come closer. And so with hesitation, I come a little closer. He points to the bottom row, and there were these greenish metallic contraptions. And he says to me, Reverend Cho, these, in his broken English, these landmines. We must teach children avoid landmines. The world is broken and fallen. We need to open our eyes. That day, I was speaking with one of the elders of the village, and I asked him what's difficult. And in our conversation, it was so world-shaking. He said, well, paying teacher salaries hard. So I asked him, because I'm really inquisitive, I said, well, how much are their salaries? He says, $40, pointing his 4 fingers. So in my natural mindset, I said, per day? And like a couple of you, he laughed. He laughed and he just shook his head and says, no. So I said, oh, I'm sorry, did you mean $40 a week? He again laughed and shook his head. I said, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Did you mean $40 a month? His face turns very stoic. I think he was really annoyed with me at that point. And then he went, no. I was afraid to ask the next level. $40 a year. And he finally said, yes. You see, I'm not sharing this with you this morning. My motivation isn't to heap guilt or shame. Please, that's not what I want you to think or feel. I simply want to communicate that we still live in a world today of such disparity and where there's still poverty in the world, and it's ungodly. And as followers of God, as we are grateful for God's goodness and grace and blessings upon our life, we cannot be naive. We cannot be desensitized to what's going on around the world, here, there, or everywhere.